అవునండి. హలో, నేను ఇక్కడ మా తమ్ముడి దగ్గర పెడుతున్నాను, మ్యూట్ చేసి.
Okay, actually, that's correct only. Okay, so if you look at the class syntax, that means we have written the classes till yesterday. So if you see the syntax of the class, there will be access specifier like public. Then we need to use a class name called, we need to use the keyword. So class is the keyword here. Then class name, class underscore name. Then followed by, inside this we will be having two things. First one is data member, one is methods. So if you look at here, this is what the encapsulation is. This is what the meaning of encapsulation is. If you look at here, combining data members and methods, or combining related data members and methods together is called encapsulation. So therefore, if you want to do the encapsulation, then class is mandatory. Please see this again. So this is called encapsulation. Combining related data members and methods together is called encapsulation. So therefore, if you want to achieve the encapsulation, then class is mandatory. That means class keyword is mandatory. That's what the meaning. Okay. So that's about this one. Now if you see here, let me put the example after this. Okay. So if you look at here, public class name, then data member. Data member means yesterday we have taken integer, X, something and all. Okay. Then methods. We have written something like public void display. Public void display. Like that we have written the method. So inside the method we have written some logic. So therefore combining data members, that means variables, and methods together is called encapsulation. This is how we do the encapsulation. Then if you look at here, so there is one point you need to remember here. This most of them are asking. Let me cover that point. Another example. Let's say this is example 1. There is another example. Another example. Like public class. So I am writing something called outer class. Outer class. Then, so inside this I can write one more class. That's called inner class. Classes inside the class, or class inside the class is called inner class. Class is a keyword. It's not, okay, inner class. So inside the inner class, let's say I am having some logic. Forget about the logic. Here conclusion is important. Now I am closing the inner class. I am closing the outer class. Now if you look at here, please remember this. Every class, before we need to have access specifier. Every class, before every class we need to have access specifiers. And this is a outer class or top level class. This is an inner class. Okay. Please remember this. Outer classes or top level classes must be public or global. Actually, these are the access specifiers. So what are the access specifiers? We have access specifiers like access specifiers is equal to, we have private, we have public, we have global, and we have protected. These are the access specifiers we have. These are the access specifiers we have. Okay. So if you look at here, yeah. So these are the access specifiers we have: private, public, global, and protected. So if you look at it, so let me have a question, because these on these access specifiers, what are the access specifiers in Apex. Why I am putting Apex? Because of the reason is, if you look at in the Java you don't have global. So there is something called private, there is something called public, there is something called protected, there is something called global. Please remember this, in Java we don't have global. So, but global is nothing but Apex global access specifier is similar to Java public. That means in the Java we have something called public. So public means, let's say if I am making this as a public, or if I make this as a global, whatever inside this can be accessed. Whatever inside this can be accessed outside this class, outside this package, outside this folder also. Okay, so please see this. Let's say I have a method here, or if I make this as private, please you need to understand, because I cannot spend more time for this. I can just give the conclusions only. Because I cannot, if I give examples for each one, then it's like hours and hours. So if I make a private, anything inside this cannot be accessed outside. If I make protected, okay, if I make protected, anything inside this can be accessed in the derived classes. That means, let's say you are having one more class. Okay, we have one more class XYZ, which extends outer class. So that means what? I have a new class which is extending this class. Then if it is a protected, then whatever available here you can access inside this class. Then if it is a public, so whatever available here can be accessed within the same package. So that means what? What is the meaning of package? Package is nothing but folder. So if you look at here, let's say this class is stored in somewhere else, c:/Chenna/abc. So inside the ABC you have what? Outer class dot Java something, or you have outer classes. Then the same way, let's say if you have c:/Chenna/abc/, so there is something called, assume that we have one more class, derived class or extended class or some other class, let's say 1-2 class. So that means if I make this as a public within the same package, that means if you have one more class inside the ABC, there also these can be accessed. But if I have a global, then not only in the ABC, even in the Chenna, if you have some class, there also you can access. So it no need to be ABC. Even though in Chenna folder you have another class, there also you can access. That's what the meaning of global. So global is the keyword you need to use if you want to access outside the class, outside the package, outside the class, outside the package. So in simple words, private means within the same class. Public means outside the class but within the package. Protected means within the extended classes. Global means outside the class, outside the package. Outside the class, outside the package. So therefore, if you look at here, global is not there in the Java. Global is not there in the Java. Global not there in Java, comma, but it is similar to public in Java. So in the Java we have public, it is similar to that. Protected is there in Java, private is there in the Java, all these things. And remember this, in Java, let's say if I am not writing the access specifier, still it is correct. In Java, see, I am trying to compare. If you are able to correlate, that's fine. If you are not able to correlate, at least remember the apex conclusions. If you are correlate, then the advantage is you will be getting more knowledge. If you are not able to correlate, that's fine. At least remember the apex conclusions. Okay. So in the Java, so if let's say this is a class, am I specified any access specifier? No. If you are not specifying any access specifier in Java, still it is correct. But in Apex it's not correct. In Apex, access specifier is mandatory. Either one of these you need to specify. There is no option for you. In Apex, either one of these things you need to specify. There is no option for you. And in Java, if I am not specifying anything, then there will be access specifier called default. Then there will be access specifier called default. Remember that default is not a keyword, so you should not type default. Just leave like that, it will consider as default. Please remember this, default is not a keyword, so you should not type default. Just leave like that, system will automatically take that as a default. And in Apex we don't have default also. So in Apex only we have 4 access specifiers: private, public, protected and global. I'm just giving conclusion again. If your class is public or if your class is private, then these members or these stubs, whatever available inside the class, cannot be accessed outside. If it is a public, these can be accessed outside the class but within the package. Protected, these things access in the inherited classes. If it is a global, these stubs can be accessed outside the class, outside the package. That's it. And if you look at here, this is a outer class or top level class, and this is a inner class or this is a inner class. Now remember this, the conclusion here is that outer classes must be public or global only. Outer classes must be public or global only. Other keywords are not allowed for outer classes. That means, let's say if you write here private or protected, then it is going to give error. So most of you are asking this question, can we have outer class as protected? No. Can we have outer class as private? No. Outer classes are top level classes. Classes must be public or global. Must be public or global. So you cannot have other than that. So that's how you can write the classes. So whenever you want to write a class, you need to use the access specifier, then followed with the class keyword, then followed by the class name, blah 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 blah. And yesterday we have seen a example. Yesterday we have seen an example like this. So inside the class you can have static, non-static, all these things, which will be executed what? If you look at here, yesterday, yeah. So I am typing this so that we no need to spend more time for typing. Yesterday whoever missed, please go through the class because yesterday a lot of new stuff are there. I just want to repeat this one because some of them are absent. But I don't want to spend more time. It is your responsibility to take care. Okay. So if you look at here, so I have written a class. I'll go through quickly. I have written a class, public class. Inside that I have written a test method, then one more test method, then static block, then non-static block, then normal method, then constructor. These are the maximum steps we can have inside the class. And the polymorphism, those are all there, but these are the generally general stubs inside the class. Okay, so if you look at here, I have written a class. Inside the class, there is a test method, one more test method, static block, non-static block, normal method, constructor. These are all there. So the question is, when will be executed what? That is what the question. Or what is the order of the execution? That is the question. If you want, if you understand this one, then you are good. Right. Please look at this. Whenever this program is executing, or whenever this class is executed, it checks is there any public or is there any static test method. Please see this. Whenever this class is executed, it checks is there any static test method. Yes, there is a static test method. If there is a static test method, then before this execution starts, it executes the static block. So therefore, what is the output of the static block? It is going to display SB, static block. So it is going to display static block. Okay. So after executing the static block, then it will come back here and it will execute the method. Inside the method, what is there? I am creating the object. How to create the object? Class name, object name, and new is the keyword, then class name. Now, whenever you create the object, yesterday I discussed, I spent most of the time, but I just want to repeat this one because it's an important one. So whenever we create the object, it checks, is there any non-static block? Yes, there is a non-static block. So therefore, that will be executed. Non-static block will be executed. After executing the non-static block, so it checks is there any constructor. Yes, there is a constructor. So therefore, that will be executed. So after execution of this, now object is created. Now I am calling what? O1.demo method. Demo is the normal method, so you have to call with the help of object. So therefore, demo will be executed. After execution of the demo, then what is there? I just displayed some message. Static method test 1. That is what it is. Static method test 1. That is what it is. Okay, so that's how it is. Now this method execution is completed. Again it checks, is there any static test method? Yes. If there is any static test method, before this method execution starts, it checks is there any static block? Yes. So if static block, then that will be executed. Now, after executing the static block, the test method execution starts. So now inside the test method, what is there? I am creating the object. So whenever you create the object, two things. It checks is there any non-static block and it checks is there any constructor. So there is a non-static block. So therefore that will be executed. Non-static block, that will be executed. After executing the non-static block, it checks is there any constructor. Yes, there is a constructor. So therefore that will be executed. CTOR, that will be executed. After that, object creation is successful. Now, so this will be executed. So that's nothing but SM-test2. This is what the output of this program. The major goal of this program is you need to understand in your class. Let's say there is a test method, there is a static block, there is a non-static block, there is a normal method, there is a constructor, there are multiple static test methods like that. If you have so many things like that, then when will be executed what? That's what the question, and this is going to give you a lot of knowledge. Please practice this example and ask me if you have any questions in the next classes. I already spent enough amount of time yesterday. Okay, so let me not to spend time. So the conclusion is, this is what you need to remember. Whenever you execute the class, it checks either any static test method. If yes, before this method execution starts, it executes the static block. After completion of the static block, it comes back and it executes the method. So inside the method, I am creating the object. Whenever you create the object, it checks either any non-static block. If yes, that will be executed. After that, it checks either any constructor. If yes, then that will be executed. After that only this object creation is successful. Then it executes the display method. We are calling the display method, so display method will be called. And so on, so on, so on, so. That's it. Okay, so that's all. Now I explained all those things. Next. So next we have something called the coding standards. What are the coding standards we need to use? Explain the coding standards. I don't want to spend much time, but I just want to cover once. See, wherever it requires, I am spending the time. Wherever it's not, I am just going through once. That's it. So if you are not able to follow something, please read through once and get back to me. Coding standards. So the first thing is that how to write the variables. Please remember this. Why we need coding standards? Remember that we are not writing the program for ourselves. We are writing for the organization. In the organization, you are not only the developer. There will be plenty of the developers. So therefore, you have to follow the standards. Variable. So if you look at here variables, so variable names. So there are two possibilities. One is integer. Let's say max is a variable. So if you see here, max is a variable name. So how many words are there? There is only one word. If only one word, then all are small letters. If multiple words, let's say integer, calculate marks, calculate total marks. So this is the variable name now. If you look at here, this is having how many words? 3 words. If variable is having more than one word, then first word is capital letter. Then from second word onwards, each word first letter is capital letter. That's how it is. From second word onwards, each word first letter is capital letter. That's what the variable, that is how you need to write the variable. If it is only one word, all are small letters. If it is having more than one word, then from second word onwards, first letter is capital letter. Okay. Then if it is a constants, all are capital letter. All are capital letter. If constant name is more than one, constant name is more than one word, then have underscore between words. Means example is what? Let's say minimum salary. This is one example. Min is one word, shall is another word, and I want to make this as a constant. So therefore you need to have underscore. Minimum salary, comma, total average salary, like that. So this is how you can write the conditions. Please follow the coding standards. So because you are going to put some experience and all, and if you are not following the coding standard, then it's not good. So whenever you are writing capital letters, or whenever you want to write the constants, have all our capital letters. If more than one word is there, each word is separated with, or each word, then if constant name is more than one word, then have underscore in between, have underscore between the words. Between the words, that's what the meaning. Next, method names. Next is method names. If you look at the method names, so let's say method name is get salary. So if it is a only one word, then all small letters. If it is only one word, then all small letters. Let's say display. All small letters. If method name is more than one word, if method name is more than one word, that means display salary. Then first word is all small letters. From second word onwards, each word first letter is cap letter. Display total salary. So if you look at here, how many words are there? 3 words are there. First word is small letter. From second word onwards, first character is capital letter. Only first character is cap letter. That's it. That's how you can write the method names. Then class names. Then class names. So if you look at here, class name. Let's say class. So if it is having only one word, then this is the situation. Class, if it is only one word, then A, B, C you can write. If it is having more than one word, let's say class, demo, test. So in the class name, each word first letter is cap letter. That's it. Each word first letter is cap letter. So let's say class, this is testing demo. If you look at here, how many words are there? 4 words are there. So each word first letter is cap letter. Each word first letter is cap letter. Please remember that even though you are not going to get any errors if you do not follow, but it's mandatory to follow. Even though you are not following, you will not get any errors. But coding standards are very much important in IT. Please follow this. So this is how you can write the methods, variables, constants, and classes. So that's all about the coding standards. Next one. So I explained about the access specifiers, all these things. Yesterday I talked about this keyword. I talked about overloading. I talked about the polymorphism. All these things. Yesterday I have given one example, right? That example explained so many things. Let me just go through that example for 2 minutes. That example covers many concepts. Yeah. If you look at here, this is the example yesterday I covered. This is the example I covered. So this example explains so many things. The first thing is that how this keyword works. This example explains how to write parameterized constructors, how to write default constructors, how to call parameterized constructors, how to write default constructors, how to call default constructors. This is also example for polymorphism. This is also example for runtime compile time polymorphism. Overloading. So this is all I explained yesterday. So just go through once. Okay. So next is, I think you know by this time. So differences between constructor, people call it as CTOR. Differences between constructor and methods. What are the differences between constructor and methods? What are the differences between constructor and method? So if you see here, so if you look at here, this is a method, but this method is method name is same as class name. If method name is same as class name, then it is called constructor. So why to write constructor? Yesterday we discussed. So therefore, constructor name is same as method name, and the constructor is called automatically whenever you create object, but methods you need to call. And the constructor will be executed only once, but methods you can call any number of times. If you look at here, this is a constructor. This will be executed only once in this class. That's nothing but once for the object. That means whenever you create the object, this will be executed. But if you look at here, display method, you can call any number of times. Let's say here display this dot display. You can call one more time. You can call one more time. You can call one more time. That means methods you have the control to call. Constructors you don't have the control. And if you look at here, let me see if I have a Java here. I'll show you one thing. Java C, I don't have. One second, let me set the environment variables. I just want to show you once. I mean, these are all, please see this, if you want to be expertise in the Apex, please do the Sun certification. Please do the Sun certification. So in the Sun certification, you will be learning lot of stuff that help you to pick this area. But if you want to, if you just want to write, that's fine. But if you want to expertise in Apex, then better you learn the core Java or Sun certification. So let me set the environment variables. Program files, Java, JDK 1.7, big. So only thing is that it is going to take good amount of time for me to explain all this stuff. Properties, advanced settings, environment variables. There will be something called path. Yeah, here is the path. Edit it. Or you can write your own variable called path. Yeah, create an environment variable called path. Then you can have this one. Click OK. Click OK. Click OK. So why to create path? Anyone? Why to create path? Anyone? Okay, there is a lot of story for that. Let me not to go there. Okay, so let me have a test class here. I'm just creating a class here. Please look at this. I'm just creating a Java class, public class. Class name is Channa Testing. I just want to show one, nothing more than that. If you look at here, am I writing any coding inside this? Am I writing coding inside anything inside this? No. It's just an empty class. Let me save this. Save as Channa testing dot Java. Channa testing dot Java. This is the class I created. All files. Save. Okay, so I just create a empty class. If you look at here, please try to observe. So inside the class, nothing is there. I just created a dummy class. Now, let me go and compile this one. Please look at this, what I am trying to do. cd dot dot, let me go to that place. So it's available in C colon, not C colon, E colon. E colon, then Salesforce something. So inside that I have a class called Chenna testing. Now, one second please. Okay. Now if you look at here, I am trying to compile this. How do I compile? Java C Chenna testing dot Java. So I compiled successfully. So what happened? Public class name error. Okay. Class spelling mistake is there. So CLASS. Now let me go and compile this one now. So therefore, if you look at here, compilation is successful. That means what is happening here? Please look at here. I mean, it takes good amount of time, but I want to cover this one because at the end of the day, you will not get chance to learn these things again. So this is what I have written. Now I am compiling this. Sorry. So this is the class I have written. Now I am compiling this. Compile. So how do I compile? Just now I did compile. After compilation, go and see what is there in the class. Look at here, after compilation, you got a class file. So if you open this class file, you may not understand, but try to see something. If you open this class file, you may not understand. Yeah, if you look at here, you cannot understand. Let me decode that one, or let me show you what is there. Java P testing class. That class I should not use. Yeah. If you look at here, yeah, you got output. Let me put it here so that you will understand. After compilation, this is what I have. After compilation, what I have? I have this one. Okay. So if you look at here, now see the difference. This is what one basic point you need to understand. So if you look at here, I just written a dummy class, public class testing, and compile. After compilation, what is there inside the class? Public class Channa, and there is a constructor added automatically. What does it mean? Why this constructor is added automatically? And why this needs to be added? So there is a lot of explanation for this. Let me give the conclusion because it's again one day explanation for me. Please remember this conclusion. Whenever you write a class, come and compile the class. Assume that you have written a class and you are compiling it. Now compiler checks, is there any constructor in this? If no, then compiler adds a constructor in the class. That's nothing but zero argument constructor or default constructor. If you have written a constructor, then compiler is not going to add. Please remember this conclusion, this is very much important. And why that constructor needs to be added, what is the advantage and all? That if you have some clue, then go and study, otherwise we can discuss in some other time. In Apex class also it is same. Please remember this conclusion again. Whenever you write a class and compiles it, now compiler checks, is there any default constructor or not default constructor? Is there any constructor in your class? If no, then it will go and add. If there is any constructor, then it will not add. Look at here. Let me go and add a constructor here. Let me go and add a constructor here. Let's say if I add a constructor, Channa testing, let's say integer, some parameter, integer x. Then in this case what? This is a method. Method name is class name. So it is a parameterized constructor because it is taking parameter. In this case, default constructor will not be added. Default constructor will not be added. That's what the meaning is. So therefore, compiler always checks, is there any constructor in your class? If no, it will add the default constructor or zero argument constructor. That's it. Now public class testing is over. Now if anyone asks how many methods are there in this class, let's say assume that this is a class. Now if anyone asks a question, how many methods are there? What is the answer? How many methods are there in this? What is the answer? Or after compilation, how many methods? So if you look at here, this is what your class, and after compilation, how many methods are there? Look at here. Now I am compiling the class again. I compiled successfully. Public void display. So it is asking, please implement the method. So let me make it as empty. Okay. Now I am compiling the program. Compilation is successful. Now I am trying to see how many methods are there. If you look at here, public class Channa testing, and there is a default constructor, there is a display method. That means in this, after while compilation, it checks is there any constructor. If no constructor, default constructor will be added. Then followed by we have a method here. So therefore, if anyone asks like this, how many methods are there in this program, or how many methods will be there in the class file? So you need to say two. One is the default constructor. Constructor is also a method. One is default constructor, and second one is display method. And remember this, why we need to have default constructor, what is the advantage and all, we can study in the SEJP certification course. Okay, so that's about the conclusion. So that's the conclusion I would like to give. So that's what about the constructor. And remember this, you can have method as static. That means, we look at here. If you look at here, let's say there is a public class name is ABC, and I can say, I can write the constructor. Let's say public ABC is the constructor, and do something. Then I can write public display method and write something. And I can have static keyword for the method, but I cannot have static keyword for the constructor. So constructor cannot be static, but methods can be static. This is wrong, but this is correct. So yesterday I explained why to use static. Now Suprit, you can correlate why we should not use static for constructor. Yesterday I already explained. I don't want to repeat because it will take another 15 minutes of time. So that's about the differences between constructors and the methods. Constructors and methods. And I already told you constructors will be called automatically whenever you create object, and per object you will call only once, but methods with the help of object you can call any number of times, blah 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 blah. These are some of the differences between constructors and the methods. Fine. Let's come out from this concept now. Next is Can we have an example for inner classes and outer classes? Because I just talked about inner classes and outer classes. Yeah. Let me give you an example for inner classes and outer classes. Explain or give an example for inner classes and outer classes. So let's see, I'll write a simple program which have inner class and outer class. So I don't want to repeat the steps to create all these things because I already explained. Again, if you don't know how to create a Apex class, you need to go to the development, Apex classes. Apex classes. So already I have written the Apex class, I am just overriding that, or I am just deleting the existing one and writing one more. So as I said, outer classes must be what? Global or public. So therefore, global Chenna outer class. Then public class Chenna inner class. Chenna inner class. Okay, so let me take a private method. Methods, variables generally private. That's where you provide the security. Private, integer, a is equal to let's say 100 or a is equal to 10 something. Then I am writing a constructor. Public, Chenna, what is that? Inner class. Then I am taking a variable as parameter. This dot a is equal to a. Next, let me write a public method. Public void display method. What it will do is that it displays the a value. System.debug a value is equal to a value is equal to plus a. Now close the display method. Okay, now close the inner class. Now I am writing a test method. Public static test method void ABC. Okay, so I am creating an object for outer class. Chenna outer class, or I can create an object for inner class also. Or let me create the object for inner class. Chenna inner class O1 is equal to new Chenna inner class of, let's say I am passing 1, 2, 3, 4. Then O1 dot display. Now close the outer class also. If you look at here, what is this program is doing? Let me save this. If any errors, you will see the errors now. So it is saying test method must be test class at line number 15. Public static test method. So it is saying it is not able to compile. So at each test you need to write. At each test you need to write. So I already explained why we need to write at each test all these things. Now this is correct. Now let me explain about this program, what this is doing. So if you look at here, I already said this is the outer class. Outer classes must be global or public. And inside that I have one more class, inner class. And I have a variable here. I have a variable here. Okay. Now let me not worry about this one. Whenever you execute this program, whenever you execute this program, it checks either any static method, static test method. Yes, there is a static test method. Before executing this static test method, it checks either any static blocks. I don't have static blocks. So therefore execution starts from here. So what I am doing here, I am creating an object for Channa IC. What is Channa IC? There is a class. I am creating an object for that. So whenever I create the object, it checks either any non-static block. I don't have non-static block. It checks either any constructor. Yes, there is a constructor. But this constructor is taking a parameter, so that's why I am passing the parameter. I pass 1, 2, 3. So this 1, 2, 3 will be available in this A. This 1, 2, 3 will be available in this A. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be available in this A. If you look at here, my variable name is A, my parameter name is A. My variable name is A, my parameter name is A. So how do I differentiate? So if I say A is equal to A, how do I differentiate? So there is no differentiation. That's why this dot A indicates the variable name. Just A indicates the parameter name. Okay, so I am passing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be available in this parameter. That 1, 2, 3, 4 I am storing in this dot A. That's nothing but it will go on storing this variable. That's it. After this, I am calling the display method. Display method will be called. So what this display method is doing? It is going to display a value. So therefore, I should be getting result is 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see whether you are getting it or not. You need to execute it. You need to execute it. So how do I execute? Where is the program? Yeah. Channa outer class. This is the program. Run test. Okay, so this is run successfully. So if you see here, test case is passed. If you want to see the result, go to the debug logs. If you want to see the results, go to the debug logs and look at here and see whether, look at here. A value is equal 1, 2, 3, 4 you got. That's all the result is. Now let me take this program and have it here. Or let me put this program inside my regular programs. And I would like to discuss one more concept called types of variables. I think you already know how many types of variables are there. How many types of variables are there? So let me put it here. Explain or example for inner class, outer classes and inner classes. So that's about this one. So next one is explain types of variables. What are the different types of variables? What are the different types of variables? So we have 3 types of variables. The first one is local variables, global variables, and or I can say local variables. Local variables. We have 3 types of variables. Then class variables. And there is the object variables. So if you look at here, local variables are belongs to what? Belongs to methods. Class variables, it indicates what? belongs to object or belongs to instance. Let's understand now. Class variables are also called as instance variables or instance variables. Okay, so belongs to object. Next, object variables. Object variables are also called as static variables. Okay, belongs to class. Sorry, belongs to object. Class variables are belongs to class. Hold on a second. Class variables are called as static variables. So I just written reverse. Class variables are called as static variables. So static variables belongs to objects. Next one, object variables. Object variables are also called as instance variables. Class variables, static variables belongs to class, not object, because class variables, right, belongs to class. Okay. Now object variables are also called as instance variables. Instance variables belongs to object. Belongs to object. Now with the example, let's understand what is this meaning, class variables, that, this and all. Okay, belongs to class, belongs to object. So the instance variables, class variables are called as static variables. Okay, so let's understand with one example. Let's understand with one example. So yesterday I already typed all these examples because typing is going to take some time. So if you look at here, let me take this example. Please try to understand quickly. So if you look at here, there is a class. Inside the class I have taken a variable. Inside the class I have taken a variable. So inside the class I have taken a variable. So that's why it is a class variable or object variable. So inside the class I have taken a variable. That's why it is called a class variable or instance variable. Class variable or instance variable or object variable. You can say object variable. Okay. Now if you look at here, I have taken a static variable. Static variable is nothing but the class variable. We'll see what is the difference. Okay. So in this example you may not see the difference, but in next example you will see the difference. But if you have something like this, then it is called instance variable. If you have a static keyword, then it is called static variable. Fine. I have 10 here, I have 100 here. Now I have written a method. Now in the method I am displaying this A value and B value. That's fine. Now how do I test it? So yesterday I already explained how to test all these things. Okay, how do I test it? So I am writing one more test method. So here I am creating object for this class. So if you look at here, let me draw the diagram. If you look at here, there is a variable, there is B variable. There is a variable and there is a B variable. So right now A is equal to what? 10. And B is equal to what? 100. B is equal to 100. That's fine. B is equal to 100, A is equal to 10. So if you look at here, A is what? Instance variable, B is what? Static variable. Now I am creating object for this class. Whenever you create object for this class, if you have a static variable, or let me put it in this way. How many objects I created for this class? I created 3 objects. Object 1, object 2, object 3. So therefore, here 3 objects are there. If you have any static variables or class level variables in this class, then all objects share this variable. That means your B value will be shared by O1, O2 and O3. Shared by O1, object 1 and object 2 and object 3. That's why we are calling it as class level variable. That means for this class there will be only one variable. It's not worry about how many objects you created. So if you look at here, I created 3 objects. If you look at here, I created 3 objects. All these 3 objects share this value. That means for all these objects there will be one copy of B. For all these objects there will be one copy of B. That's why we are calling it as class level variable or static variables. Now how about the A? A is what? Instance variable. That means every object will have its own copy. That means what? So your O1 will have its own copy of A. Your O1 will have its own copy of A. Your O2 will have its own copy of A. Your O3 will have its own copy of A. A is equal to 10. So your O1 will have its own copy. Next, this A is equal to 10. One more copy will be there. Sorry, 10. Next, this is A. A is equal to 10. And your O3 will also have its own copy. A is equal to 10. Okay, so A is equal to 10. Now look at here please. What I am trying to say here. So whenever you create an object, it checks is there any static block or static variable. Static variable is shared by all the objects. Non-static variables or instance variables will have its own copy. If you look at here, I have 3 objects here. All 3 objects will have common copy of B because it is a static variable. Only one copy will be there. Now if you look at A is a non-static variable, so therefore your object 1 will have its own copy, your object 2 will have its own copy, your object 3 also will have its own copy. This is 10. This is 10. Okay, your object 1 will have its own copy, object 2 will have its own copy, your object 3 will also have its own copy. Fine. Now, so whenever we create the object, the constructor will be executed automatically. So therefore, A++, B++ is there. So I am creating O1 object, A++. A++ means what? This is going to be 11. This is going to be 11 now. This is going to be 11. Next, B++. B++ means this is going to be 111. Or sorry, 101. 101. That's all. Next, I am creating one more object. Whenever you create the object, the constructor will be executed automatically. So A plus plus. So it's having its own copy. So therefore, this 10 will be cancelled and you will be having 11. You will be having 11. Next B plus plus. B plus plus means the B is shared by all the objects. So therefore, 101 will be cancelled and you will be having 102. You will be having 102. That's fine. Next, I am creating one more object. Whenever you create an object, it will go and execute the constructor. A plus plus, B plus plus. A plus plus. So this 10 will be removed and A plus plus means value will be increased to 1. So therefore this will be 11. And B plus plus. B plus plus means, so B is shared by all the objects. So therefore this will be removed or this will be vanished and you will be having 103. So this is having 103. That's it. Now I am calling o1.display. o1.display. So o1.display means what? In the display method I am displaying A value and B value. So o1, for o1 what is the A value? 11. What is the B value? 103. Now o2.display. o2.display. So A value is 11 and B value is 103. o3.display. A value is 11, B value is 103. That's what the output. So therefore conclusion is, in the class if you have a static variable will be shared by all the objects. That means all the objects have single copy of the static variable and non-static variables, every object will have its own copy. And inside the method if you take any variable, let's say here if I take any variable integer x is equal to 5, then it is called a local variable and it will be available here only. This will be available in entire class. This will be available in only object. That means only O1 object. That means O2 only O2 object. That means only for O3 object. That's why if you see A is, for every object will have its own copy of A. But B is what? Common copy for all the objects. That's all for today. If you have any questions, ask me, else we will stop here and we will continue tomorrow. Any questions? Varsha, Shiva, Supreet and Uma. Finally Uma.
No, no, I'm good.
Shiva, Supreet. So I'll be sending these tutorials to you tomorrow. I mean the docs, programs, all these things tomorrow. So tomorrow I would like to cover interfaces, classes, some other stuffs. But I would like to end up this one so that in the next class we need to start SOQL. SOQL. There is a query language programming. We need to start. We need to understand the exception also. I will be a bit faster here because of the reason is there is a lot to